ENATA was founded a couple years ago by a family that was passionate about sailing and especially innovation as well. And it has several different departments. It has an aerospace department, an architecture department, and a marine department. In aviation, we build special remote control drones. Anything for recreational, for enthusiasts, which are perfect replicas, fully out of carbon fiber, really big, around 5 meters big, as well as flying targets for the military and drones for research and surveillance and so on, which have an extremely long range. In the marine division, we have several different projects. We have a kites project, which is kite foiling. We build some custom boats as well. One is a multi-50. Another one is what we call a GT Cat, which is a catamaran, which was built to be very comfortable and to live in, but you can sail on one hull and it does foil a bit as well. But the biggest part of the marine is we have behind me. It's the Foiler, the world's first private flying yacht. The Foiler has 4 foils, 2 around the center and 2 in the back, and they work kind of like the wings of an airplane underwater. So they lift the entire yacht outside of the water, and it brings incredible advantages. First of all, it's extremely steady, extremely comfortable. You don't bounce up with waves and so on, which brings you don't get seasick anymore. So for people that don't generally like sailing, this is honestly incredible. It becomes a lot safer as well because you don't have to hold on. It's much more responsive, and the biggest one, it's incredibly more fuel efficient, around 40% more fuel efficient, as you don't have all the drag. It has a speed as well of up to 40 knots, and that's including in 1.5 meter, 2 meter waves. You can still sail at 40 knots in full comfort. A large yacht will generally maybe go around 20 knots if it's quite fast. 40 knots is very, very, very fast. Translates to about 74, 75 kilometers per hour. But on water, especially when there's waves, that's really fast. There's several different layouts, from Venturi, which we have behind me, to Azure, which has a cabin, to Royale, which is more for your VIP clients, and GT for the more sporty individual who wants to either go diving or have a lot of fun with. The Foiler has 2 V8 engines from Nani, which has a total horsepower of 740, and it uses a hydraulic propulsion system that runs through the rear foils into the 2 torpedoes you see in the back. And these can be completely lifted up to use as a regular yacht and even tilted out of the water, so when you're at berth, everything is dry, making it a lot easier for maintenance and requires overall less maintenance as well. The engines of the Foiler are actually inboard, and everything that has to go through it is just a hydraulic tube with a little pump inside for it to spin. The reason they don't need to be as big is once the Foiler is outside of the water, the extra power needed for that extra speed is really not that much. The Foiler starts to lift off out of the water at around 12 knots. At 18 knots, it's completely out of the water. And it can go up to 40 knots. It's very, very responsive, unlike a regular yacht, especially since the foils are in the back. So acceleration is quite fast. And on top of that, the handling is unworldly. It handles like on rails like a crazy sports car. The Foiler can do a U-turn in a 15-meter radius at 40 knots. So you really have to be strapped in unless you want to be ejected from the boat.